Alright, so I just got back from Harbor Freight. Bought one of these Braun 4-foot LED shop lights. And I'm so impressed with it. It's a single tube LED. And if I could get this popped out of there, I'd show you. What it is a bank of individual LEDs going all the way down the tube. All this is just a cover. I've modified this light, and I'm going to show you that here in a minute. Because what I want to do is I want to mount it straight up flush on this. So basically it's going to be hanging. It's going to be flush just like that. And then that way it'll light up this entire bench. I know it's a mess right now, but I've been kind of busy. But I'm going to compare this. I've got an old school fluorescent light right here, just a dual 4-foot fluorescent, and I've had this for 20 years. Ever since we moved into this house, I put this up, and that's what I've used on this. I'm also going to compare it to this 4-foot LED light that is right above my lathe. That's the light that I put above my lathe. I don't ever use this light here that's built onto the lathe. That 4-foot fluorescent lights up the entire lathe, or at least I thought it did until I got this other light. I'm going to show you. I'm going to compare all three of these lights. Now this light is on sale. Well, everything at Harbor Freight's always on sale, but this light's there's a coupon right now for $19.99, and if you keep your eye open, I'm sure that you'll probably be able to find that coupon pretty much any given time. If not, if you wait a week or two, you'll probably come across it. But this is the Braun 4-foot LED hanging light. Normally I think it's $29 or something. The regular price I thought was like $24. So as you can see, same length as this fluorescent light. So what I want to do, let me, just so you know how this normally is supposed to be mounted. Okay, it came with these little deals right here screwed in it. There's one of these in each end, normally. And then it's got a little bag of hook and chain. And then you hang it just kind of like the way I've got this one. So if you look at this one, that's kind of what they expect you to do. I didn't want to do it like that on this particular deal because I don't want a light hanging down to where I can't get stuff, in and out of that little cubby hole right there. So I want that light as flush as possible. That way whenever I pull stuff down and put stuff up there, it's not in the way. So I'm gonna take this light over here. I'm going to turn this light on. Now, this camera is going to have auto exposure, and it's going to try to adjust for it. So I don't know how it's going to represent a realistic light it's putting out. But we're going to give it a shot. Let me try to clean some of this mess up. Okay, so here comes the fluorescent light. Okay, and it does a pretty good job. I've always used it. I've always thought, okay, yeah, that's plenty of light. And it probably is plenty of light to do most things. Now I'm going to try to do this one-handed. Let's see, the first thing I guess I'll do, let me go ahead and turn this light back off. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn this light on, and then I'm going to have to pick it up. Now I don't know how the phone is adjusting for that, but that's a whole lot more light, and it's whiter. It's a nice white light. It's not that yellow that yellow hue, the way the fluorescent lights was putting out. So I'm going to set this light down. I'm going to turn the fluorescent back on. And with this light held up, I mean, you can't even tell the fluorescent's on. This light drowns it out completely. And depending on how I hold the camera, you know, it's trying to, the auto exposure's trying to self-adjust. So I'm going to put this light down. That's the fluorescent. And it's quite a bit more dim. Now I'm going to do this real fast, and maybe you can see the auto exposure. I mean, things are just lit up a lot more. It's a night and day difference to me. It looks to me like on the phone it's hard to probably tell before the auto exposure makes the adjustment. That's with the light. Without, that's just the fluorescent. So, and hopefully you guys was able to see that. Now I've got to figure out, okay, to get it over here with this other LED light, I'm going to have to get a little extension cord, it looks like. So I'm going to pause and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Got the light plugged into an extension cord. I'm going to turn this light on. This is the LED. This is an LED light, and it was a pretty expensive light. It's a fluorescent replacement, so you can snap it into a fluorescent socket, and it worked. I had to modify it because I run it. There's no ballast or anything for this, so I had to do some modifications to run electricity straight to it. But this is what I use to light up my lathe. And it's always done a good job. It lights it up to where I can see everything. But again, I'm going to go ahead and turn this light on, and then I'm going to hold it up. And I'll try to do it fast before the auto exposure can just make a real fast adjustment. In fact, I'm just going to tilt this. And I don't know if you can tell. I mean, there's a huge, huge difference. I mean, this thing lights this lathe up like nobody's business now. So I'm gonna buy another one of these. Okay, there's without it, and you can see the auto exposure is adjusting. And that auto exposure is actually adjusting really fast, so it may be hard for you to see. That's just with that light right there that I've been using. And now there's the other one. I mean, it lights everything up. So as far as a decent LED light, and it's a single wide. It's a single wide light. This thing is just insanely bright. It's the brightest single LED fluorescent style light that I've seen so far. That one right there, that's probably about 5 years old, and that was the brightest LED light that I had seen up to that point, until this one. But let me show you what I did to this and the way I'm going to use it. Now, it was kind of a pain. It was a lot more of a pain than I thought it was going to be, because I thought that I thought somehow this bulb was going to be able to pop out of here and I was going to be able to see all the guts inside it, and then do the modification so the wire would come out the side or the back of it. But this is normally the wire comes out straight out of the top, and it's got a I don't even know where it's at now, but it's got a little plastic snap-in grommet, you know, for the wire. And what I ended up doing, in order to take this apart, you got to pop this end cap off, take these screws out, and there's actually a circuit board in here, and it's wrapped in a little cardboard box, and that whole thing will pull out. You got to unsolder a couple wires off of the LED strip. But once I got that out, what I did is I drilled a hole in the back and I ran my wires out the back. That way I can flush mount this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bracket, screw to the back of this right here, have it overhang about an inch or so, and then I'm going to come up and put a couple screws in the bottom of that. And I'll do that on both ends. That way I'll be able to flush mount it right up there and have this workbench lit up. And I'm going to get another one. Actually, I'm going to probably get two more of these. I'm going to replace the fluorescent light over there, and I'm going to replace that LED tube over there. I'm really impressed with how bright this light is and the quality of light. It's a real white light. Doesn't have the blue, you know, a blue tint to it, or anything like that. And all it is just a single row of LEDs all the way down this tube. But whenever it's all lit up, this white cover diffuses the light really nice. And yeah, I'm impressed with it. So for $19, I don't think you're going to find a better deal. That's a ready to go, you know, pull on off switch light, ready to go. I wish the cord was a little bit longer, but for my deal, it's going to work. I'm going to be able to make it work. But as long as you hang it, the cord coming up out of the top will be fine. But since I'm going to mount it flush, that wasn't going to work for me. So like I said, I have it coming out of the back now, and I can pretty much, the screw heads, these little screw heads popping up, I could actually take those out if I needed to. Obviously that piece in there is not going to be able to, the only thing these screws are for, well, this one's for a ground, to ground this aluminum body, and these two are holding a that circuit board in, and it just keeps it from flopping side to side. I could actually take these out because obviously when it's mounted, that's not going to go anywhere. But anyway, I am very impressed with this light. I highly recommend, if you need lights for a shop, I highly recommend this light. For $19 using that coupon, it is without a doubt worth it. So anyway, that was just my little take on this 4-foot light. I don't know how long Harbor Freight's had these. I just saw it in a ad and thought for $19 I might give that a try, and I'm glad I did, because it's definitely worth it. Anyway, that's all I got. Okay, so I thought I'd also see how close to this 1/2 amp draw that it pulls. So it says it's a 120 volt 1/2 amp. We'll also see how many watts that is. But I've got it plugged into the kilowatt. So I'm going to turn it on. Let's see, let's go over here. Let's go over to watts. So just sitting here plugged in, hold on a second. Okay, there we go. That's watts. So we're not pulling anything. I'm going to turn it on. And it looks like about 52 watts, which I do believe that's pretty close. Yeah, 0.44 amp. So yeah, just a little under 1/2 amp. So depending on how many of these you're going to buy, and you know what your circuit that you're plugging them all into will handle, these pull about 51 watts each. So a little less than a 60 watt incandescent bulb. So I thought I'd just, since I was out here in the shop, throw that in. And when they're off, zero. Doesn't pull anything, which you wouldn't expect it to. There's some appliances, believe it or not, that even though they're turned off, like your TVs and Blu-ray players and stuff, they continue to pull a little bit of power for memory and to keep the circuit warmed up. So when you go to turn it on, it comes on instantly instead of having a warm-up time. But this doesn't pull anything when it's off. So about half an amp or 52 watts. Anyway, highly recommend this light. Later.